Hi everyone, this is Friday the 1st of May 2020 and the end of week 2 we are here and we have the long weekend ahead of us. So to look at our lessons for today, we have a little bit different lineup today. For English, we're doing our spelling and dictation and going over our homework. If you haven't done your homework, you can do it with us and pause and then get the answers. We're going to read a chapter 12 of Magnus Chase and do some vocabulary work and answer some comprehension questions. Have a really quick math lesson where we just finish off Friday's summary of some of the concepts we learnt during the week, and a really quick look at the science activity by Mr. Detrix for this week, and also some other fun activities on Edge Studio. Okay, so very quickly, just looking at our spelling words for this week, we've gone over them each day and done different activities, including looking at their definitions, the phonemes, and starting the phoneme bubbles. Really good effort on that. That was a very tricky concept to teach via YouTube, and we'll have another go at it next week and I'll do some better examples. So our words are, just very quickly, silence, vital, react, seizure, vocal, minor, season, overt, bureau, beautiful, average, calculator, camera, somebody, anything, everywhere, customer, families, libraries, Wednesdays, camouflage, Wednesday, camouflage, overwhelmed, accommodate, and miscellaneous. Okay, I will just very quickly get you to head up your page with week 2, Friday the 1st of May. Winter is here, 2020, and dictation. Don't forget to put your name on it. And last week, I was really impressed because I had people who remembered how we did it in class, which is with the 2 columns. So they had their spelling words in one column when they're done and their sight words and then their dictation sitting next to it. And then they even wrote it again and did a perfect copy. So I think all up, that's got to be 15 stars if you do it like that. But if you just write up dictation and correct any spelling mistakes when we do a good copy, I'm happy with that. Okay, I'll close this one down in the background and put this one up, and let's get started. Now, if any stage you fall behind, just pause me. I'll say the sentences a couple of times, and remember you're listening to my voice for your punctuation and you're using your phoneme sound out for words that are in the dictation as well. Okay, so we're all headed up and you've put the date at the top. Let's go. On Wednesday, the season changed. On Wednesday, the season changed and I was overwhelmed. And I was overwhelmed by the overt and beautiful silence. That sentence again. On Wednesday, the season changed and I was overwhelmed by the overt and beautiful silence. The vital beauty everywhere was above average and made me react with a seizure of joy. And made me react with a seizure of joy. So that sentence again. The vital beauty everywhere was above average and made me react with a seizure of joy. So just to check that, I'm going to read those 2 sentences again. On Wednesday, the season changed and I was overwhelmed by the overt and beautiful silence. The vital beauty everywhere was above average and made me react with a seizure of joy. The camouflage of the leaves will accommodate the miscellaneous birds. The camouflage of the leaves will accommodate the miscellaneous birds, who are a customer on anything green and living. that whole sentence again. The camouflage of the leaves will accommodate the miscellaneous birds who are a customer on anything green and living. I saw that there were families everywhere. I saw that there were families everywhere in the two libraries across from the Bureau of Investigations. I saw that there were families everywhere in the two libraries across from the Bureau of Investigations. I saw a woman take out a camera and a calculator and take notes. So those two sentences again. I saw there were families everywhere in the two libraries across from the Bureau of Investigations. I saw a woman take out a camera and a calculator and take notes. In a moment, I'm going to read you all that dictation back again, and you can highlight your spelling words. Okay, so that whole dictation from the start to the finish I'm now going to read, and you can highlight your spelling words. On Wednesday, the season changed, and I was overwhelmed by the overt and beautiful silence. The vital beauty everywhere was above average and made me react with a seizure of joy. The camouflage of the leaves will accommodate the miscellaneous birds who are a customer on anything green and living. I saw that there were families everywhere in the two libraries across from the Bureau of Investigations. I saw a woman take out a camera and a calculator and take notes. Okay, now that was a bit of an obscure or a bit of a strange dictation, and I'm sorry about that. Usually with our words that we pick in class, they go together because they're from English or maths or science, and we group them together. So that was the best I could do, putting all those different words together in a dictation. But here we go. I'll type that up now, and you can check what you've got with what I'm going to type. Whoop, take off the underline. That was last week's, it's there. I'm just going to leave them up. And week 2, Friday the 1st of May. Okay, so on Wednesday, capital, the season changed and I was overwhelmed by the overt and beautiful silence. And I'll go through, and then once I've done that, I'll go back and highlight the spelling words. The vital beauty everywhere was above average, and I better put an E on above, average, and made me react with a seizure of joy. The camouflage of the leaves will accommodate the miscellaneous. It's interesting that it doesn't like that, isn't it? On Wednesday, I've spelled that correctly. Let's just click on it and see why it doesn't like it. Okay, yep, the comma. On Wednesday, because I paused there, the season changed and I was overwhelmed. Yep, that's fine. Overwhelmed by the overt and beautiful silence. The vital beauty everywhere was above average and made me react with a seizure of joy. The camouflage of the leaves will accommodate the miscellaneous birds who are a customer on anything green and living. I saw that there were families everywhere in the two libraries across from the And I'm going to make this a capital because it's the name of a place, Bureau of Investigations, and that's the FBI. I saw a woman take out a camera and a calculator and take notes. Okay, so our highlighted words are on Wednesday. Why did that not work? On Wednesday, come on. Yep. Okay, the season changed and I was overwhelmed. By the overt and beautiful silence. Was beautiful a spelling word? Oh, well, we'll highlight it. The vital beauty everywhere was everywhere's one, which is really strange because it's, oh, wish that had come back up, because it's not that difficult a word. Above average. And made me react with a seizure of joy. The camouflage, yay, of the leaves will accommodate the miscellaneous birds who are a customer. Yes. On anything, easy peasy that one. Green and living. I saw that there were families, and of course they were teaching you to take the Y off and add IES when it is a plural. I saw that there were families everywhere. Everywhere's one. In the two libraries. Across from the bureau. Now that could have been bureau as a cabinet with drawers, but I just wanted to change it. Investigations. I saw a woman take out a camera and a calculator and take notes. I think I've got them all. I've probably missed some. You can pause that and just check your writing and the punctuation as well. And that's weeks 2 dictation. Now we're going to move on to the homework. And it's on week 12, but of course being week 2 for term 2. Okay, so we're going to read through measuring earthquakes. This, of course, is the printout from a seismograph, which measures earthquakes. And there are 2 ways in which scientists measure the size of earthquakes: magnitude and intensity. An earthquake's magnitude is a measure of the amount of energy released when it happens. Its intensity is how much the earthquake is felt in different places. For example, if you drop a stone in a pond, the magnitude would be the amount of energy released when it hit the water. The intensity would be different depending on where in the pond you measure. A frog on a lily pad right in the centre would feel the effects of the ripples much more than if he was on the edge of the pond. And that's because it would have a build-up effect going in towards the middle of the pond. The magnitude of an earthquake is measured using something called the Richter scale. This was invented in the 1930s by Charles Richter, who studied earthquakes. That should be who studied earthquakes at the California Institute of Technology. The Richter scale is a measure of the largest seismic wave, a wave in the Earth's layers, that is recorded on a particular kind of seismograph located 100 kilometres, don't worry about miles because that's American, from an epicenter of the earthquake. And the epicenter obviously means the very center of it. A seismograph is a kind of sensitive pendulum, a pendulum being something that swings back and forth, that records the shaking of the earth. The output of a seismograph is known as a seismogram. In the early days, seismograms were produced using ink pens on paper or beams of light on photographic paper, but now it's most often done digitally using computers. The epicenter of an earthquake is the point on the earthquake surface directly above the source, or focus, of the movement that causes the quake. Just like the stone in the pond, the intensity of an earthquake is greatest at its epicenter. So question 1 says, what does a seismograph do? So what I want you to do is go back, and I'll reduce this down so you can pause it and read it. And I want you to answer these questions now if you haven't done that. So pause me and answer, what does a seismograph do? Find that in the text. Where is the intensity of an earthquake greatest? And it's said it about 3 times. And how is dropping a stone in a pond a bit like an earthquake? So pause me now, go back into the text and find those answers. Okay, so a seismograph in the text says, a seismograph is a sensitive pendulum that records the shaking of the earth. So that's what you should have written there that you've taken from the text. And here it is here. A seismograph is a kind of sensitive pendulum that records the shaking of the earth. What is the intensity of an where is the intensity of an earthquake greatest? And the intensity is strongest at the epicenter. That reduced peak 100 meters from the epicenter of the earth. The epicenter of an earthquake is the point of the Earth's surface directly above the source or focus. But it does say it in there. I remember we read over it. Okay, the intensity of an earthquake is greatest at its epicenter. So you just write that there. And how is dropping a stone in a pond a bit like an earthquake? And what you need to do is need to go back where they talk about the ripples and the frog in the pond, and you need to pull that out and write that in your answer. So you can pause me again if you want to change that and fix it. But you need to write in there that the intensity would be different depending on where in the pond you measure. A frog on a lily pad right in the centre would feel the effects of the ripples much more than if he was on the edge of the pond. So that's going back in and really being quite literal about pulling the evidence out of the text and writing it in your answer. Okay, our English activities, we're writing the endings to these sentences. They have been made more complex by adding a connective to do with time, while. Okay, and we talk about this a lot in class, about instead of just having simple sentences, the brass band played, you can put in while, because, although, therefore, make those sentences longer and more complex and interesting. So the brass band played while the singer stood on the stage and sang loudly. James played in the park while his sister and brother rode their bikes around the outside. Mara's grandpa fell asleep while the children played in the cubby. The cows continued to stand chewing while the farmer rode his tractor around and cut the wheat. Amazingly, my dog can eat while standing on its back legs and wagging its tail. So you're adding more information to that sentence. Now this is a really good activity. I don't think we've got to talking about this very often, but you have 2 types of questions. Well, there's 3, but the 2 that we're going to look at are closed questions where you just need a yes or no answer, or they make a choice. What biscuit do you like, chocolate or vanilla? Okay, that's a closed question. They have to make a choice. And an open question is where the person needs to answer the question by giving you more information. So let's read through this and see which one is a closed question or open question. How do you feel today? Is that a yes or no answer? So that one's an open question. And you can just put the closed questions are, put the numbers there. And which is your favourite colour out of red or blue? Is that a closed question out of red or blue? I reckon that is, because you're only giving them two choices. Have you ever been to France? Yes or no? That's a closed question. Why would anyone have a crocodile as a pet? Well, they need to give you a sentence to explain why. How should I paint the sky in this picture? That's an open question. Is the bookstore open on Wednesdays? What do we think? Is that a yes or no? Yep, it is. That's a closed question. And would you rate the film good, average, or bad? See, that one, that's getting a little bit dodgy, because then that gives them an opening for them to answer why. So I wouldn't agree with that. The people who wrote this homework would probably say that is a closed question, but I actually question that. If you have got that down as a closed question, that's fine. So closed questions are things that the answer's there and you have to choose, or it's yes or no. And now you need to write 3 of your own closed questions. You could say, do you like distance learning? Yes or no. Did you like doing this homework? Yes or no. And did you have breakfast? Yes or no. Okay, this is really great that we're now moving on to division with decimals. It's really important that we start getting our head around this, and when we go back we're going to do lots of work on this. Okay, so what we need to remember is that when we're dividing, we are going to make the number smaller, the decimal number smaller. So that means to make it smaller, we've got to jump the decimal over. Okay, so, and we're going to jump it over by how many zeros are here. So here, 1532.4 divided by 100, well, we're going to go this way because the number's going to be smaller. And in 1532, how many hundreds are there? So it kind of tells you that anyway. So let's do it anyway. 1, 2. So the answer is 15.324. So there's 15 hundreds in 1532. Okay, 4,224.5, and we've got 3 zeros. So we go 1, 2, 3, and the answer is 4.5245. Here we've got 906 divided by 7, divided by 100. So how many hundreds are in 9? We know that anyway, but there's 2 zeros there, so we're going to jump it twice. 1, 2, and the answer is 9.067. So we are moving that decimal to the left when we divide. And guess what? When we multiply, if we were multiplying by 100, we would move that decimal to the right to make the number bigger. Okay, 7,245.6 divided by 1,000. 1, 2, 3. So the answer is 7.2456. 52.85 divided by 100. 1, 2. There are no hundreds in 52.85, and now the answer is 0.5285. 482.9 divided by 1,000, well, of course there's no thousands, okay, but we've got to move that decimal 3 times, 1, 2, 3, so the answer is 0.4829, and 290.41 divided by 100, 1, 2, and of course there's 2 hundreds in 200, so 2.9041. Then we have 4,214.5 divided by 1,000, and of course we know there's 4 thousands in 4,000. There's 3 zeros, so we go 1, 2, 3, and the answer is 4.2145. Okay. What we're going to do is actually we'll jump across to our problem solving. Now don't forget, with problem solving, a lot of your marks in problem solving come from putting in the equation showing your working. So please don't just use a calculator and write down the answer. So the question is, there are 112 people in the audience watching the school play. If they all pay $10 for tickets, how much is that in total? So 112 multiplied by 10. Okay, so there are 112 people in the audience watching the school play. If they all pay $10 for a ticket, how much is that in total? So it's 112 multiplied by 10, and all we need to do is take the 0 and add it to the end, and that becomes 1,112. Number 2, the cost of renting the costumes for the play is 328, and the cost of hiring the hall is 527. So how much profit does the school make? So we know this is where we have to use the information from the first problem. So we're going to write that over here. So what we did for the first one was we went 112 multiplied by 10. It doesn't matter that it says dollars. I'll make this screen bigger. We still know that the rule is that when we multiply by zeros, we add the 0 to the answer. Okay, so here we just that is 112 and put a 0 on the end, so 1,120. Now we keep that up there. That was the profit from the people buying the tickets. So the cost of renting the costumes for the play is 328, so we're working out the second half of the problem now, and the cost of hiring the hall is 527, so we need to add that together. So 8 and 7 is 15, we put down the 5 and carry the 1, 2 and 2 is 4 and 1 is 5, 3 plus 5 is 8. So the cost of hiring the hall and the cost of the costumes is 855. So what we do then is we put that underneath the cost of the tickets and we minus it. Okay, so 0 take away 5 we can't do. Cross out the 1, 2, make that a 1, and pop the 1 on the 0 for a 10. 10 take away 5 is 5. 1 take away 5 we can't do. Cross out the 1, make it a 0, pop it onto the 1 to make it 11. So 11 take away 5 is 6. 0 take away 8, we can't do that. Cross that out, put it here. 10 take away 8 is 2. So they only made $265 after they paid for the hall, the costumes, and they then took all that off the cost of the tickets, $265. Okay, now time. So what we've got to do is we've got to write these analog times as 24-hour times. Now, if this is AM, we don't need to worry about adding 12 because 24-hour time starts at 1 o'clock in the morning. So we just write that as 0, 400. Okay, so 0, 400 hours. That's how we write that. That's 400, but it's coming up to, actually, sorry, I thought that was 4, but it's coming up to 4, so it's quarter to 4. So we go 3, 0, 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So the answer there is 0, 3, 45 hours. Okay, for 24-hour time here. This one here, it's PM, so that means that it's gone round in the morning, past that, and now it's coming up to night time. So we have to add 12 onto 8, and that gives us 20, and it's actually gone past 8 o'clock this time, sorry about that, and it's 5:10 minutes, so 10 hours. This one here, it's PM again, which means they've come round the morning and come back up around at night time, and it's gone past 10 o'clock. We add 12 to 10 to make it 22 hours, 30, 35, 40. So that's 20 to 40 hours in 24-hour time there. And this one here, it's AM again, so this means that it's 1:30 in the morning, so we don't need to add 12 hours onto that because it's AM, so we call that 1:30 hours. Now over here we've got 200 mils and we're going to change that into litres. Now we know that there's 1,000 mils in a litre. So if there's 1,000 mils in a litre, how many litres is this? And the answer is 2. 7,000 mils, the answer is 7 litres. 6.5 litres there because that's half a litre. 1.2 litres. This one here is 18 litres because there's 18,000 millilitres. This one's 1,400, so not quite enough millilitres there to make another litre, so that's 1.4 litres. 9.6 millilitres. 6.250 litres, 4.2 litres. Here we've got a lot of litres, 64,000, so that's 64 litres, and 8,820 millilitres, which becomes 8.820. Over here we've got subtractions, and of course you have to do some regrouping here. So 0 take away 0, 0, 1 take away 9 you can't do, so you go to 2, cross it out, make it a 1, and pop the 1 in front of that 1 to make it 11. 11 take away 9 is 2, 1 take away 1 is 1, 5 take away 3 is 2, 3 take away 1 is 2, and 4 take away 2 is 2. So don't forget, when you regroup, if you don't have enough there, you go next door, cross it out, take it down 1, and pop it in front of the other number. So the answers to these ones are 222,020. The second one is 52,948. The third one is 149,311, and the fourth one is 538,422. Okay, that was very long, wasn't it? So that's the end of our first lesson for today, which is our dictation and homework, and our next one will be reading chapter 12 of Magnus Chase. Thanks very much.